Welcome to Art's Place, conservative talk from a different view, from the Casablanca studio in Golden, Colorado. Hosted by Art Carlson. At 4'6", liberals fear him, and conservatives love him. He's definitely a giant among men. Now here's your host, Art Carlson.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Great start to a new year. Happy 2022. We're starting a whole new year, January 2nd. And thanks for coming here to Art's Place, Conservative Talk from a different view. We've got a great show today. We've got a lot to talk about. We're going to start off by talking about the wildfires that just happened uh, Thursday afternoon, just northwest of Denver, east of Boulder. We had what's called the Marshall Fire. That originally it was thought that because we had a lot of high winds up over 105 miles an hour, and people were speculating maybe some power lines or transformers were damaged, causing a grass fire that quickly spread and destroyed many homes and buildings. And then we're going to talk about AOC went to a function down in Florida and wasn't wearing a mask. We'll talk about that, and we will talk about the resignation of the top Harris aide who resigned because she didn't want to be referred to as Harris people. So, and also, I also want to talk about this book by a friend of mine called Reality, a plain guide taught to economics, politics, government, and culture by Mike Rosen, who is a conservative talk show host. He's semi-retired. He filled in for several hosts over the last couple weeks. It was a real treat to hear him on the air again. He's a former student of Erasmus High School, which is the high school that Doug Moe, former coach of the Denver Nuggets, which is the oldest high school in the United States in New York City. So let's get this show going and let's bring in my co-host all the way from Muskogee, Oklahoma, the diminutive, well, the jocular Lloyd Mendenhall. Hey Lloyd,
Hey,
how's
how you?
22 working out for you?
It's not been too bad. Uh, it's colder than a well digger's butt in the Klondike right now. But that's which pretty cold. But
Yes.
this is our first real cold spell that we've had this year. It's warmed up. We're up to 28 degrees Fahrenheit, so we've
Oh,
gotten warm. So
wow.
yeah,
It
and
was 1 degree yesterday morning.
it was like 15 when I got up this morning. and and my daughter-in-law, she's over here. She's for Christmas. Her and my son, just my youngest daughter-in-law, they got Judy one of these electric foot bath massager things,
Oh,
and a bunch of stuff. And she's in there doing a mani pedi. In other words, a
oh.
manicure and a pedicure for Judy. So they're in there, visiting and doing that stuff. And I said, "Well, I'm going in to do my show," and she says, "We don't need you." Okay, I know where I stand, but
That's pretty
uh,
bold.
yeah, well, she's a lot like me. She says what she thinks, and and that's what I appreciate about it. I know where I stand with her. She is an absolute sweetheart. She's the one who got me my
Oh,
uh
yes.
kalimba. Yeah, yeah,
Kalimba.
so yeah, but anyways,
Uh,
it's like harp music for it's like
right?
harp music for the devil.
Okay.
Anyway, so yeah, moving right along. It's been a good year so far.
Well, good, good. let's bring up our other co-host, the triumvirate of the group. He is a good Orangeman from Syracuse, New York, the effervescent Mike Roach. Welcome, Mike.
Hey,
Good to
thanks,
see you.
guys. Actually, Mike Rosen is my pen name. You know,
Okay.
so
Oh, that explains a lot right there.
but yeah, Happy New Year, guys. It's good
Yeah,
to have
Happy New Year to you,
everybody
Mike.
in the chat. Happy New Year. It's another one. We made it. So is COVID over?
No, you know what? They just extended the mask mandate around the Denver metro area.
Yeah.
Adams County, Denver County, Jefferson, Boulder, and Weld County.
Well,
Yeah.
when you think about it, masks make perfectly good sense because it's the Democrats that's wanting to wear the mask, and they're the ones that's robbing us blind.
Yep, that's true. It's so much easier to wear than those white hoods.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey,
Yeah,
let's say hello to the folks in the chat. We've got Robert Glazier. We've got Mike B, aka the Drone Ranger. Chris Doc Murdoch, all the way from the southern border down in New Mexico. And then we have Mel, all the way from Arkansas. 400 AGL. Welcome, guys. Oh, and then Mike, all the way from Texas, Texas Arch Drone Guy.
Yeah, cool. There's people from all over the country.
Yep.
That's cool. And but yeah, we've been under mask mandate, the whole state, now for a few weeks, and ever since our new nut job governor, who's nuttier than the last one we had, took over. She's crazy. She's power hungry, and she's trying to make a name for herself, and so mandate. It's just stupid.
Yeah.
Now, was she Attorney General or Lieutenant Governor?
Lieutenant Governor.
Okay.
Under Cuomo.
Oh, that's right.
A lot of girls under Cuomo. And
oh yeah, more ways than one.
Yeah, I was gonna say, did you just go there?
They didn't want to be under Cuomo, but they were. And but yeah, she took over, and then like a lot of people now she wants to run for re-election, blah blah blah. She's like a second coming of Whitmer from Michigan. She's she's not bad looking, but she's nuts. I think I've dated chicks like that all my life,
Yeah.
All right, so let's get going. We just had a grass fire that started Thursday afternoon, and so far 991 structures have been destroyed, mostly homes. 3 people missing, a lot of pets missing as well. So, and now word is it's maybe arson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I heard something this week, and I had to do it. It's like I think it was Friday. I had to do some running, and went across town and in my van, and I've got satellite radio now, so I listen to it. I get like they gave me 3 months for free, and then they sent me a thing and it says just click here and we'll give you another. So I got 6 months for free on that satellite radio, which is really nice, because I like it. But I was listening to. I always have it on Fox News, and I was listening, and the governor of Colorado was on Fox News. And I go, what? Really? Because isn't your governor a little bit?
Oh yeah.
A little too far to the left to be on Fox News, but they had him on there.
Well,
And
he's somewhat reasonable. Because he wants to be president. So
Ah.
he talks the talk, trying to make himself out to be a moderate
The centrist,
Joe
yeah,
Biden,
centrist or moderate, yeah,
like Joe Biden.
yeah.
But he really
See
is,
how that worked.
and because a lot of his policies are very left wing. You know who's on the agricultural board? Someone from PETA.
Wow.
Yeah. So
What would
the ranchers are
Well, I mean,
not very happy with.
I mean, personally, I think that's a good choice because when you think about it, I mean, I belong to PETA too. I mean, people eating
Yeah,
tasty
people,
animals.
right. It's
Isn't
the
that what it stands for?
other PETA. Yeah.
Oh, that one, the tree hugging
So
hippie types.
yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, okay. I'm sorry. I get those two confused all the time.
Yep.
Yeah, it's crazy how like PETA, has always been fringe people, stuff like that. Nut job, tree huggers, as you say.
Yeah.
And now the anti-meat thing
Yeah.
has become not. I don't want to say mainstream, but like the way the tech magnates have all gone left wing on us. They're doing it with like Bill Gates as an example, buying up tons of farmland in the United States. I think he's the biggest private holder of farmland, and you can bet he's going to be, and he's very anti-meat also.
Oh, and our governor's husband, Marlon, is a vegetarian. And he's the one that called for a meatless Friday.
Meatless Friday.
Yeah. Here's something a lot of people don't know. I mean, being vegetarian, I guess, is a good thing sometimes. But I used to belong to Judy and I used to belong to the Seventh Day Adventist Church, and they're very big about promoting vegetarianism. It goes all the way back to Dr. Kellogg, the brother of the Kellogg's cornflakes.
Right.
Actually, he invented. It was a big lawsuit, anyways. But
well, and that's why he was flaky.
Yeah, exactly. But one of the things, and I mean, before we joined and then after we left and in between times, I did a lot of research on it. I never went vegan because I like meat. Into conversation. So is Judy.
Mm-hmm.
There are certain proteins that are in meat, certain proteins that are missing in a vegan diet.
Right.
One of those proteins is essential to our cognitive reasoning abilities in our brain. And a lot of these fringe churches and groups want you to go vegan or vegetarian. That's what we called it in my day, vegetarian, because that lowers your resistance to their line of thinking. This is why the Democrats are doing this, because it drops your ability to. And I know this sounds like a conspiracy theory, but it's well documented. And I can't give you the documents right now. I apologize because I didn't think we were going to talk about this. So.
What former world leader was a vegan?
I have no clue.
Would that be Adolf Hitler?
Yes.
Oh, Hitler, huh?
I can name somebody else too. Jim Jones.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
He promoted the David Koresh.
Yeah. Jim Jones was big on Kool-Aid.
Flavor Aid. Sorry, that's a misconception. Kool-Aid really got hammered on that, and they finally kept some of that. No, it's Flavor Aid. And but yeah.
And that's where the term drinking the Kool-Aid.
Don't drink the Kool-Aid. That's where it comes from. Yeah.
A lot of people aren't old enough to remember that now.
Yeah,
Back in what, 78, I think?
Yeah, November 78. Yeah.
God. I was 16 years old, God. But yeah, it's I think that lack of cognitive or critical thinking it's worked because nobody's thinking for themselves right now. I mean, I say nobody blanket statement, but you know what I mean. there's so many people right now who are not questioning anything. Just, we get marching orders from on high, from the experts, Fauci. And, well, they said this, they said that. It's 5 days, it's 10 days. It's this, it's Omicron, mask, no mask. It's just, and you said the word conspiracy theory. I was always one of those people to poo-poo conspiracies and stuff in the past. Not anymore, man. Nothing's beyond the pale anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You used to have faith in the FBI. Forget about it now.
Next year, when we go through the supposedly cold and flu season, they'll say, "Oh, it's another variant."
Right. Oh,
it'll be the.
Here's the funny thing that apparently people, I think what they've decided to do is they decided to call it, COVID-19 alpha, beta, delta, Omicron, because in reality, COVID-19 is the 19th variation of the COVID of the, and it's a takeoff. It's a takeoff of the SARS, and what they should have done instead of calling it COVID-19, they should have called it or alpha or beta. They should have called it instead of COVID-19. Delta should have been 20 or 21, and Omicron should have been COVID 21 or 22, depending on if they, there. I know there was a little bit of a. They skipped a couple of letters in the alphabet,
right?
In the Greek alphabet when they did that, but because I'd heard about the beta variant, which nobody really ever talked about, but Judy's doctor was talking to us about it. He said this beta variant. He says I already know 3 or 4 people that's got it, and they just skipped her right on to Delta because it was the deadliest. But it shouldn't have been COVID-19 D. It should have been COVID 20, 21, or 22.
Right. You might say COVID is a cheap Chinese knockoff.
Yeah. That's true too. Yeah.
But man, it's got it so messed up, and it brings to mind something I keep going back to. 1976, the swine flu under Gerald Ford. Mandated vaccinations, and they called it off after 20 deaths or something like that, some small amount compared to now.
I was in the Air Force in 76, and we were required to have the shots, and they sent every one of us over to get the shot, with the triggered thing, and if the Soviet Union had been paying attention, they could have taken us down. We didn't have enough boots on the ground. This was just at Davis-Monthan, and of course we were all getting the reports of how bad it was. It put everybody in bed for 2 or 3 days. I mean, and that was the point where I said no more flu shots of any kind, and I haven't had a flu shot since. I think I've had one, and so it was a big deal for me to even go get the COVID shot, But I figured with my health, and I didn't want to bring it home to Judy. If I got it from somebody and I got it, I didn't want Judy to get it. So that was my thinking on it, and it was my choice. It was a choice. So, but yeah.
I had that shot too, the swine flu. I was only a kid in beginning high school and got the air gun. Remember the air guns they were used for? And I had no side effects, thank God, from it. But and now with our current shots, it's they're almost talking about them like they're treatments as opposed to a vaccine, because you can get it and give it supposedly at this point in time, and until the next variation or the next change.
This virus is going to continuously mutate, and it's going to reach a point to where the virus is going to burn itself out.
I hope so.
I mean, all viruses do, and then something else comes along that is. Look at Ebola. Ebola, it had a 50% death rate. I mean, compared to this virus, which has a survivability rate of 98.9%.
Right.
And
right.
the only people that are dying are the ones that have the comorbidities or, other health issues.
Yeah. And that's something I've been seeing it. They put up the illness count and the death count, and they don't call it what do they call it, the revised, or they use a term when they talk about how many people are sick of COVID. It's the revised, or it's like, okay, before this, all the stats they were giving us wasn't real, and now these are. I can't remember what they call it when they
Right.
give you your mortality and
Well, because
It
the
depends on how many they
hospitals
need.
were paid for
yeah,
the more cases you had, you got
right,
more federal
yeah,
dollars, and that's why you might have had an auto accident victim that came in and they did a test and they just happen to have the virus, but that's not why they're there. So they call it a COVID.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
And the
and
thing is, the rules are variants more than the virus. I
Hmm.
mean, we've had 4 variants or whatever now, depending
yeah,
on the count. How many variants of the rules have we had? No mask, mask, triple mask. Okay, get the shot and you're all set. Well, no, we're wrong. No, masks in school. I
Mask
mean,
and the face
the
shield.
right. The rules are just all over the board.
Hmm.
And now that we're in the regular cold season, I had a sore throat this week and
right, right.
and a swollen glands a little bit. I went and got the COVID test because I was near someone whose family did have it. It was negative, and I'm feeling pretty much fine now. I
My
almost wish I
daughter,
had COVID, get it
yeah,
over with.
yeah, get it
But
over with. Yeah,
but the
my
rules are scaring
grandson
me,
was
man.
exposed to it.
The rules are what bothers me. The government right now and the shutdowns are doing more damage than the virus itself,
Oh
or at
yeah,
least equal
absolutely.
damage.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. My
in my
my
opinion.
grandson, we found out. Uh, he lives up in Edmond, Oklahoma, which is up near Oklahoma City, and he lives up there with his fiance, and they have a roommate there, and she tested positive for COVID. So my daughter-in-law is a nurse, and so she has mobile. She has home testing for COVID, and so she took one up to him, and of course they're this roommate, she's been isolating in her room, her and her boyfriend or girlfriend. I thought she was batting for the other team, but uh, anyways, uh, she uh, has been isolating herself in her room. If she needs something, they text or they call one of the other, either Brody or Brody's fiance, said, "Hey, would you bring us some such and such?" And they go and they set it outside her room. They step back. She opens the door and take it on in. And he tested negative for it. So, but she was kind enough to bring us a couple in case we got to feeling bad. We could, test to make sure.
Do a
So,
test. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And I'll be honest with you, I haven't had a COVID test yet.
No, I haven't had one since last summer when I had that bad bronchitis.
Yeah, I haven't had one at all. I mean, it's just, uh, poor Judy, she's had like 4 of them, and I think she's she says they stick it halfway up to my brain. I said, well, at least you
Yep.
got something up there to
Yep.
stop it. If it was me, they'd probably lose the damn thing because it'd go all the way through.
Mhm.
Things get
Or
sucked into a vacuum.
you can have
Yeah,
fun.
exactly.
You can have fun with the nurse and say, "Oh, deep," and "Oh, oh, oh, oh," and get real sleepy.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well,
Or I need a cigarette after that.
Now there you go. Well, speaking of mass, someone from Mike's neck of the woods, AOC, went down to a function down in Florida, I believe Miami, if I'm not mistaken,
Mhm.
I
not
think so.
donning a mask. Imagine that. She's been railing against the governor of Florida for not having a mask mandate, and she goes down there and he isn't wearing a mask. How hypocritical is that?
And she's
AOC is full of crap. That girl is crazy for one thing. She's just plain crazy. But
Oh
when it
yeah.
comes to and she comes from the other New York, okay? I'm in New York State. So it's a little sanity up here. New York City's another world. She's from down there. She's been a hypocrite on this mask thing all along. There have been several times where she's been caught, preaching about the mask, and then when the camera's away or when she thinks it's away, she
yeah,
takes it
yeah,
right off and she's right in someone's face. No
yeah,
problem.
yeah. And
And
I saw that. I saw that she was really. I actually saw a little bit of that clip. She seemed to be really enjoying uh, uh, the hospitality of Governor Santos down there because he doesn't require a mask. His state said no mask. And she seemed to really be enjoying it. So
right.
you know,
Yeah, it's
good for her.
you know, I mean, if
What a
people want to
hypocrite.
wear masks, knock themselves out,
Yeah, I wear one.
yeah. I wear
Yeah.
one out of courtesy to others. I don't think it does much good, but for what little good it does, I wear it.
Yeah, I do it. I do it mainly so that I won't. And I would probably do it anyway, especially when this cold weather's coming along, or in the fall when we got all this ragweed in the air. It kind of helps, keep me from catching a cold. It just it gives me a little filtration there that I wouldn't normally get. And I do it because of Judy, because I don't want to
Right.
catch it and then bring it to her, and that's my
Right.
main thing. You know,
hmm
everybody says, well, you wear the mask to keep from giving it to other people. And no, if it stops you from giving it to other people, it stops you from catching it, because
Right.
those masks don't just breathe one way, because when you breathe, they breathe, so
hmm
if it works one way, it should work the other. I've had that discussion with people more times than not, and I was like, are you kidding me? I mean, air flows two ways, come on,
hmm
folks. And
And also, you know why surgeons wear masks in the operating room? It doesn't stop viruses. It stops germs and bacteria, which are
right.
bigger than viruses.
hmm
That's why they wear masks. So masks
Yeah.
really, the only thing they do is, okay, say you have the virus and you got a runny nose. It keeps those droplets from
From,
coming out. So
yeah,
if you
yeah,
have a runny nose, wear the damn mask. Even
yeah.
if you don't think you have the virus.
Yeah, yeah, you're right, Mel. Mel just said, I thought they proved that the masks don't stop it. They don't. But, uh, it's like this whole thing about N95. I remember when we'd go to our doctor, and Judy and I'd have on masks with charcoal filters and all this stuff built into them. And they'd hand us this paper mask, says, you got to wear this. I said, I got a better mask than that. I says, but this is one of our masks, and we know where it's been. And like, is that an N95 mask? Well, no, it's just a routine mask. And they're like, really? Come on, guys. I've got a better mask than that on already. And I picked up the box and I looked at it, it said made in China. I said, so these are Chinese masks to help me fight the Chinese virus. How the hell kind of sense is that? It ticked off my doctor's office staff, because most of them are bleeding heart liberals.
Well,
But they also know who I am. So
the whole country seems to have lost its thought process, and there's like a mass hysteria right now.
A
Like
mask
Orson Welles is doing a
hysteria.
radio show on War of the Worlds or something, and
Yeah.
people,
Yeah.
people are not thinking right now, and it's bizarre.
I just saw what Mike B put up there. I've been wearing a mask for 10 years. As I scare small children, they think I'm Freddy Krueger. Yeah, that's another reason to wear a mask. Hey, you got to admit it, man. Some of these gals, they're so much
Yeah.
better looking with a mask on than with a mask
Mhm.
off.
Kathy Griffin.
Right. I better not expound on anything Lloyd just said. I'll get
Pelosi.
in trouble.
Well, all I can think is when I said that, I was thinking of, put a flag over it and do it for Old Glory. So, I'm sure you know where that went. I'm not going to say it, but you guys got the inference, and that's what I was thinking when I said that about masks. Yeah,
Oh man.
that's bad. Boy, we went down the wrong rabbit hole on this one, didn't we?
Right.
Jeez.
Well,
So with the wildfires out there, I've
Yeah.
since this whole week I've been news free almost. So I'm sorry I'm ignorant right now in terms of what's happening out there in Colorado with the fires are, and so they suspect arson.
yes, that's what the word is. If you don't know where this area is, it's east of Boulder and northwest of Denver, and there's a couple small towns in between where I live and Boulder. There's Lafayette and Superior, and there's another smaller town a little west of there called Marshall. That's why it's called the Marshall Fire. And I was going to play. I think I sent the video to both of you of where somebody flew a drone.
Yeah.
Well, that's a whole nother discussion, right there. I mean, the video is just amazing, but all the rules that guy broke. Turns out he was flying in Class C airspace, and because half of Lafayette is in the airspace for Front Range Airport, and I think Superior is all covered under, but it may be out at the outer edge where you have 400 HEL out there. But in Lafayette, it's anywhere from 0 to 100 feet.
Yeah.
So, and there's a TFR in effect that I believe started that night that runs till January 14th. That's
what I was thinking. He probably violated TFR.
Yeah.
And Robert says the video is still up too.
Yeah. I was going to play that, and I thought, no, I'm not going to give this guy some more views because he's already over 300,000 views on that video.
Yeah.
And I thought about going up there yesterday morning, and I thought, you know what? I think I'll check the air maps, to see what, because I know it's pretty close to Front Range Airport, and I checked and go, I don't know.
Yeah.
So I made the right decision by not going. And prior to the show, I was having a chat with Vic Moss, and turns out that channel has gotten several complaints to the FAA over that video.
Yeah. That's a hard one to call. I mean, obviously, if he's breaking the rules, he's breaking the rules, and we need to, that needs to be, and that's the sort of thing that can hurt our hobby. We've
that's right.
going down another rabbit hole here, but yeah.
And one of you saw the one where he flew right up to that house where it was still burning. It was smoldering.
Yeah.
And he got pretty darn close to that building. I thought, I mean, it looks cool.
Yeah.
But I thought,
Here's my thing. Right. If these guys, if video like that is done, it needs to either be done under Part 107. That's what your show is tonight about, the rules. Yeah. It needs to. They need to follow Part 107. They need to at least the rules of it. Even they need to have 107. they should be. I honestly think that the news channels should do their job and film this stuff under the right, but if it puts anybody in danger into conversation, it's over,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and I know we're all in the back of our head thinking about an incident that happened this last week, and I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole either. I'm sure Mel will, because he just said that's what his show is about tonight. And so,
Oh, yeah.
We have to regulate ourselves with some common sense in this particular, and it doesn't matter which side of the aisle you're on, whether it's just,
Right.
I'm a hobbyist. I will probably never get my Part 107. One, I don't fly enough to think that it's, and I'm not going to be taking pictures like that. But
Mm-hmm.
now, if this guy was, if this guy had press credentials and he had Part 107 and he went and got the proper authorization to fly in
Yeah,
that,
rank authorization. Yeah.
yeah, if he went and did all that, yeah, Mel, you might have. I'll talk to you about it in front of the show before the show tonight. But yeah, it's we got to follow the rules. We don't have to like them, but we
Yep.
need to follow them.
Yep.
And I think you made the right decision not showing that video because,
Mm-hmm.
well, again, I'm not going to go into that situation that happened this week, but
Yeah.
I think this, and a lot of this comes from the fact that the news agencies are no longer reporting the news. They're reporting, that Kim Kardashian is on her, her 16th lover of the week, or some crap like that. It's just stupidity.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of freelance guys, but even the freelance people need to have some sort of press credential, and they need to have the authorization from the FAA to fly in these areas.
Right.
Like I said, I haven't even studied for my Part 107, but I probably know more about it than a lot of people
Mm-hmm.
because of what I picked up from people like Doc Murdoch and Mel and you guys. I understand this stuff, and it's just common sense. And
Right.
yes,
Common
I
sense
have
with-
read.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm just saying I have read the rules. I've gone through and read the Part 107 rules. I mean, I've what else have I got to do? I'm retired.
But I mean, common
Well-
sense would dictate, like, there's an emergency, a fire, all of us know you don't go over emergency situations. End of story, unless you're authorized.
Right. Exactly.
And, it's
Well,
tempting. It's tempting as hell. That's for sure.
This was after the fire had burned itself out,
Okay.
and this was the following morning, and it looked like a bomb exploded, and
Right.
it leveled home after home. And then you go over to the next street, there were houses that didn't get touched.
Yeah.
It was just amazing.
Yeah.
There was a shopping center that got destroyed. There was I think, PetSmart and a Target that were, and there was a hospital that had to evacuate.
Yeah. Yeah. And and this comes down to, like I said, we need to have we need to have we need to have people working with the news agencies, working with the fire departments, the police departments, the ambulance service that are Part 107. I mean, each department could get their own friggin' drone. They're not, with a decent budget and
a lot cheaper than a helicopter.
yeah, exactly. And a lot of agencies are doing that, but we want to be the one that catches the. I've watched all of the Spider-Man. I mean, all of them, but the newest one. I watched the 3 originals, and then I watched the Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2. Then I watched the 2 new ones, not counting the newest one. So, and one of those things was that Peter Parker was out there trying to catch, or they were trying. The Daily Bugle was trying to catch and get pictures of Spider-Man, and the only one who could get it was Peter Parker, and he was just a freelance guy, at least in one of the series of movies. And, but he got the scoop, no matter what it took. And sometimes that's where we as YouTubers and as drone operators, there's a certain fringe element there that just, they're going to get it regardless of whether the rules are there or not. Like I said, we don't have to like the rules, but until something better comes along, we should obey them. Otherwise, it's just like those pop machines. Well, I'll give you an example. We just had a new wheelchair lift put in the back of our van, and I had to go down this checklist, and I had to read it and then initial it, on each one. And it says, one of the things says, you cannot be on the wheelchair when you raise the lift up and put it in. In other words, you can't ride the lift up and take it in because it's a rear entry. It's for the back. And it's like, I looked at it, I said, are you kidding me? He says, you know why that's there? I said, somebody already tried it, didn't they? Yep. Because that thing, it has a max capacity of 350 pounds. Well, me in the wheelchair probably would add up to, 570 pounds, if we're, or more. But those rules are in place because somebody already tried that, rules are set up by stupid people for stupid people. Like, don't tip the pop machine. There's a sticker on there now that says, really? Okay. Yeah.
Right. It's like when by a camera, do not use while riding a motorcycle, things like that, and,
yeah. And they're there because somebody's already tried it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And it's such a litigious society too.
Yeah.
That you put it there to protect yourself, but
yeah, because somebody probably rode it with a motorcycle, fell off and crashed, and blamed the camera for it, and sued the camera company.
Fringe elements. Top Harris aide has resigned. Yep.
Yes.
And turns out she did not want to be labeled as Harris people. So evidently, with her plummeting approval ratings, her polling ratings, it looks like her everybody is quitting. They're like going, I don't want to be associated. I'm out of here.
Yeah, last one here. Turn out the lights.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's they're dropping like flies. People know something we don't, and it's not even. It's 1 year in, not even a year in, and they're already dropping out.
And this is one of the things because I've been hearing this too. That people they're taking sideways promotions or sideways transfers, or some of them have even gone down a rung of the ladder to get away from her. And that usually only happens towards the election year when they know that this person won't be on the ticket. Well, we're only a year in and, that they're going to be replaced. My thing is she's either going to have to resign or they're going to have to impeach her. That's only two ways, or she's going to have to die. There's three ways. And the third way, I don't wish that on her. I was going to use my third finger, but then I realized which one it was, and I just decided, that would be inappropriate. But anyways, on this show, anyways, on mine it would be okay.
I'll be showing up at your door, Lloyd.
Yeah.
With the polling, just for the Democrat Party, it's been in the dumper. I mean, barring any screw up by Republicans, I think there's going to be a pretty darn big wave coming in next November. I mean, we got now we're 10 months away, and pretty soon, in the next few weeks, you're going to start seeing ads on TV.
Friggin' ads, yeah, I know.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, we're starting up. Political season has begun.
Yes.
Pull the starting pistol, because it's like, you can feel it in the air, like things are happening, and God knows what's going to happen over the next 8-10 months with will it be a normal like 2021 where it was relatively calm, or will it be cities burning all over again and voting laws changed and all this
Right.
stuff again?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
because
Will Russia invade? Will China invade? Who
Well,
knows?
my last little bit, I heard Russia has pulled back a little bit. They're not. They're not. They've kind of stepped down, but that's because uh, El Presidente and the Grand Tsar Putin have met together, uh, and basically Putin got everything he wanted.
Right. Mhm.
right.
You know, and that's what it come down to. I mean, we can't invite Ukraine to be part of the uh,
NATO.
NATO. Yeah, yeah. We can't support them with weapons. We can't, like, the only reason he even tried this is because, as crazy as people think Trump was, he was a smart man, and
Mhm.
I mean, yeah, they should have. I hate to say this, but I'm glad he got banned from Twitter because he was hurting himself and he was hurting everybody else.
Mm.
Not, I mean, I don't think he should have gotten banned from Twitter, but it was a blessing in disguise for him because after he was off of Twitter, he started doing more interviews and live interviews and rallies and stuff again, and his ratings have gone, through the roof, while Biden's
Right.
have crashed.
Yep.
And
Mm.
that just goes to show you that in some ways his Greg and I talked about this a long time ago. He did that just to poke the bear to see what it would take to get to the left to reach out. And they always showed themselves. They always showed, and he did that to egg them on.
Mhm.
And probably not the greatest way to do it, but hey, it showed it brought them out of the shadows and showed who they were.
Yep. All
But
right. Well, that helped me to. Well, I'm going to put myself up real quick here. We're going to plug this important book called Reality: A Plain Talk Guide to Economics, Politics, Government, and Culture by my friend Mike Rosen, a retired talk show host in here in Denver. And by the way, he did fill in for Rush once. This book is just chock full of great information. So if you're ever in a discussion with a liberal friend, you could pull this out and talk about things like, oh, tax cuts for taxpayers. And it also gives you a list of who pays how much in tax. Like the top 1% pays 50% of all the federal tax. The top 10%, I believe, well, I think the top five pays something like 75%, top 10% pays 90%. But if you get the bottom 50%, they pay nothing. They pay nothing in federal income tax. So, and I was having a discussion with somebody after my show last night. We had a nice civil discussion. So we'll bring everybody back, and I could tell right off the bat what news outlets he was watching, and so
yeah, that looks like a good book. I wonder if it's available in ebook because
I
uh
think they do. Go check that
okay,
out.
yeah, I was going to
You
say,
could get it on Amazon.
send me a message of the name of the book and everything because in
Oh, believe it.
it's called
Did I
it's
get it
reality, right?
autographed?
Well,
I'm not sure if I did. May have gotten it autographed, but nope, I didn't. Hmm. But Yeah, he's got. Here are some of the people that have put in the forward: Arthur Laffer, Bernard Goldberg, Michael Barone, William Bennett, Oliver North, Bill Owens, former governor of Colorado, Stephen Moore, Hank Brown, Stephen Hayward, and John Funn. These are guys that are, have written in the
Yeah,
forward.
they do have a Kindle edition to that one.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
I'll be right back, guys.
All right.
all right.
Check me out for a minute. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the paperback is $14.95 and the Kindle is $9.99. So I'll probably get that because
I mean,
that's
it's a really good resource book to have.
yeah.
So,
You know, and I've got two of the books. I think I've got the first two books that Rush did, and I'm gonna go back and read them again. It's been a lot of years since I've read them, but
mhm.
I'm gonna go back and read them. But yeah, so let's see. I'm losing the. I gotta bring up the chat so I can see what anybody might be saying.
Yeah.
There we
So
go.
let me
Yeah, no
look
doubt they'll
in-
make major changes in coming. Yeah, or there'll be major changes. That's what Pixar's drone guy wrote up there, and he's right. You know, I think next year is going to be quite a year for. Oh, you're reading Art? I thought you
Yeah,
froze
well,
up. Oh,
like here it says, it's the chapters. Here are the chapters. Capitalism works, a conflict in economic visions, taxes, government spending, and supply side economic,
right.
great political divide, and party trumps person. And this was a big talking point that I had with this person. He votes person versus party, where I vote party versus person, because I explained to him how the locus of power works. Like
Right.
one party is going to control the committee assignment. So if
Yes.
your party is in control, you get to control who's going to be on the committees and who gets to head those committees, and that's where the real power is. And say you're right of center, but you like this Democrat because he sounds kind of reasonable. So you vote for him, and all of a sudden, his party is the majority, and
They get to make
their
committee assignments.
vision is going to be served. So if you want smaller government, more fiscal responsible government,
Yeah.
you elect the people that are going to represent those
That.
views.
Yeah.
Now, and this is my caveat or caveat that it's not perfect, because you are going to get people on both sides of the aisles that are in districts that are, just slightly to the left or to the right in that district. And those people, they have to govern in a way that keeps them in power.
Right.
Right.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Case in
But
point is the congressman from my area, John Katko. He's one of the 10 who voted to impeach Trump the second time there. And it's like, this guy, he's disgusting to me. He's a finger in the air politician. But the area I live is kind of a purple area in terms of, what you would compare to other places. You go down to New York City, it's blue as can be, but When you go up
Right,
north,
right.
it's red. I'm in between, you know, and
Mhm.
but you know, I'm gonna have trouble voting for this guy this time around. I don't know if I'll vote for anyone else, but I think he's being primaried. We'll see what happens
Yeah.
there.
But
Yeah,
here's the
yeah.
problem. If he gets primaried and he gets beat by someone who's more
Unknown.
conservative but
Or
doesn't
yeah,
fit for that district, that person could lose to a Democrat.
Right,
And then you're in a worse situation.
right. That's
But
the
yeah.
big
going to
question.
Wyoming, you got Liz Cheney in a red state. She voted for impeachment, and she is still going after Trump, calling this whole fiasco an insurrection.
Oh,
And this person who I was talking to last night, he thinks it was a an insurrection or a coup attempt, and evidently he doesn't know what really happened at that.
Yeah,
It was a
you know,
riot.
yeah,
Yeah.
when that first happened, as that was happening, my oldest son, who is a police officer, and my boys are conservative. My oldest son's more libertarian than he is a Republican, but he called to tell me. He says they're trying to take over the Capitol. I said, "Do what?" He says, "Yeah, riots turning." He says they're actually attacking the Capitol, and of course, he was getting his feed from not only different police agencies because he gets the updates from federal agencies and all that, and that's the way it was coming down. But later, more of the truth came out about it, and
Mhm.
but we're not hearing. You didn't hear that stuff reported. When more of the truth came
Mhm.
out, they talked about the 4 people that were killed, and all. And it turns out, guess what? There weren't. And they're supposed to be killed. The only one I know that was killed was that Air Force veteran, and
Yeah.
he was
Ashley,
shot. Yeah,
yeah.
Babbitt.
Yeah,
yeah,
there's a
yeah,
whole lot wrong with that story.
yeah,
We're coming up
yeah,
on a
yeah.
year now, so there's going to be specials and everything on it, I'm sure, you know. And
Hmm.
but
4 more days.
it reminds me of the Whitmer kidnapping plot. It
Yes.
turns out the feds were half the people in on that too.
Right, right.
Remember? And basically entrapment of the other people. If they wouldn't have
Mhm.
Right.
otherwise hatched this plan. And I think there's the possibility that that's exactly what happened at the Capitol. I mean, granted, there was a huge Trump crowd there, no question about it.
Yeah,
But
I
Mhm.
had
a
I
lot of
had
people
an
didn't go
associate.
in there.
I had a friend that was there, and he was doing a live. He'd filmed it live while he was there, and then he sent it out to a select few of us. And what he showed in the area, and he's
Was he at the Capitol or was he at the rally?
well, he ended up at the Capitol, you know,
Oh, okay.
but he didn't go in.
Right.
And it was, you could almost, he says, these people are running that direction, but he says it was a minimal compared to the crowd that was there for the rally. And then they all kind of moved towards the Capitol.
Mhm.
And it just, from what I've seen of it, it didn't fit like you said, the story just didn't fit right. And I've said
Mhm.
all along that I felt that it was a setup, if nothing else. Uh,
Mhm.
you know,
There's
but
something wrong with it, that's for sure.
there's something wrong with that
Yeah.
picture.
Mhm.
It just doesn't. There's so many things that didn't fit. And but I remember initially, my son says they're trying to take over the Capitol building. He says the people are fed up. And to that extent, he's right. We were fed up, but I
Yep.
don't think it was what the news agencies have tried to say.
Yep.
And just like you said, the governor, that whole kidnapping thing. I saw something about that this week. It's like you're sitting there scratching your head, going, "This isn't right." There's something
Yep.
wrong here with this story.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Besides, who in the
Right.
hell would want her?
Mhm.
Put a mask on her and a
I was
muzzle.
going to say maybe the mask was what made was a make or break deal. Put the mask on her, and it'd be uh,
Definite
it might have
mandate.
been okay. Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
But the thing is, it's there were average Trump people who were in there, but they weren't they weren't average people. The ones who were smashing in the windows
Yeah.
and stuff. That was a different crew. And once the guards backed off, people were waltzing in the place, basically getting a guided tour almost. And all of a sudden, then they want them out. Like the Buffalo head guy. Remember, the guard was basically talking very calmly to him, and just like it was another conversation. Something's really wrong with that whole story.
Yeah, I agree. I always felt the ones that were of the worst case scenario, you would find their brethren, their like-minded people at any BLM/Antifa.
Right.
And to me, because we don't know about Antifa. We don't know what their, we don't know who their leader is or what. It's a loose-fitting group, and I think there's people that go back and forth in that. They go from Antifa, they work for Antifa, but they're going to, whatever can cause the most chaos and hurt the conservatives. And I honestly believe that that's probably where this, I've always felt that something's not right with this picture. It's just.
And why are these people still in jail?
Yeah.
What about due process? Bail and you got cities that are letting people out on
that's why they're using the
$1 bail or less.
Right, and that's why they're using the term insurrection, because that's treasonous. So the federal guidelines for treason and insurrection are completely different than they would be for somebody who jaywalked in front of the president, or something like that. It'd be a different, it's a different set of rules. The government has their own sets of rules that apply, and I think that's why they keep using that term insurrection, because then they can apply those rules. And as we know, there's not too many judges that, a lot of the judges were replaced under Obama, and Trump unfortunately wasn't able to get them all through because, get the new judges in place before, that's why having a split term like this probably hurts him more than it helped him. Had he been reelected, I think we would have seen a major shift in the way our laws are being looked at. Rather than being legislating from the bench, we would see honest justice being served on these things.
Right. Well, that's why the left did a full court press on the election. Whatever it took, Trump was not going to win that election.
That's right. Because it was had Trump won, it would have been the death of the party. I think it would have finally, they would have imploded on themselves. There'd been more riots. There'd been more, there would be more stuff, because Trump couldn't get everything done because he was too busy having to deal with, one, the anti-Trumpers in his own party, and two, the left.
About this thing called Russian collusion.
Right, that
turned
first
out to be fake from the start.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Our civil rights have been slowly trampled on because of this crap. It doesn't matter anymore if well, it's like they say, you tell a lie long enough, it'll eventually turn into the truth.
Yep.
Right. And unfortunately, we're not getting those rights back. Not fully.
Yeah.
We've done just a little bit over an hour. I want to thank you again for another great show and a great start to 2022. I want to thank all you guys in the chat. Thanks for coming. Mike, Robert, Mel, Mike B, and
Mike B, Robert Glazier, Doc Murdoch.
Doc Murdoch, Chris. Yep.
Happy New Year to everybody.
Happy New Year, everybody, and thanks for coming. And we'll see you all next week. Take care and God bless. Goodbye.
Bye, everyone.